Everyone assumed she was just another recruit until the moment she told them to step aside. They didn't, and that was their first mistake. The tension inside the training compound cafeteria was thick enough to taste. Metal trays clattered, steam drifted from oversized pots, and boots thudded heavily against the floor. But in the far corner, where 3 overconfident recruits had cornered a quiet young woman, the air felt different, charged, brittle, ready to snap. It was the kind of atmosphere where one wrong sentence could change the course of a career. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing. Who's listening? Her name was Avery Holt, 28, calm, focused, carrying the kind of silence that made people uneasy, not because she seemed weak, but because she seemed impossible to read. To most, she looked like someone who'd wandered into the wrong place. Her posture was relaxed, her hands didn't tremble, her uniform lacked the swagger others wore like armor. She moved with quiet precision that didn't match the bravado-filled chaos of boot camp life. But that morning, 3 recruits, Brenner, Calhoun, and Tate, decided her calm was an invitation. Brenner leaned forward, blocking her path. "Hey," he said, voice dripping with theatrical arrogance. "You know who we are?" Avery didn't look up from the tray she was carrying. "Recruits," she said. "Same as me." Calhoun snorted. "Not the same. We've got connections. People who can make things hard for you." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "So here's your first lesson. When we tell you to step aside," Avery finally met his eyes, "you do it," he finished. "There are moments in life when silence is louder than shouting." Avery's stillness unnerved them. She didn't back away. She didn't bow her head. She just stood there, relaxed, steady, like someone who had already measured the danger and found it insignificant. Tate smirked at her lack of reaction. "Maybe she doesn't understand," he said. "Maybe she thinks she belongs here." A murmur spread through the room. Forks paused midair. Conversations crumbled into whispers. Something was happening. Everyone felt it, even the cooks froze. Avery set her tray down gently, as though she were placing a feather on the table. "Do you want to know who I am?" she asked softly. The 3 men laughed. "Yeah," Brenner said. "Enlighten us." Avery's voice didn't rise. She didn't posture. She simply told the truth. "I'm a SEAL." They laughed louder, too loud, too forced, because somewhere inside their bravado, something cracked. For a moment, no one moved, not even the air. Then Calhoun stepped closer, nearly nose to nose with her. "Then prove it," he whispered. Avery inhaled slowly. The cafeteria light flickered overhead, humming like a warning. Dust drifted down from the vents. Someone in the back whispered, "Guys, don't." But it was too late. Brenner shoved her tray off the table. Metal clattered across the floor. The entire cafeteria held its breath. Avery didn't react with anger, just disappointment. "You sure you want this?" she asked. They didn't answer. With words, they answered with movement. Calhoun lunged first. In less time than it takes for a heartbeat to echo in someone's ears, Avery stepped to the side, gripped his arm, and redirected his weight. He hit the ground so hard the floor shook. Gasps erupted. Chairs scraped. Someone shouted. "What just happened?" Tate rushed her next, reckless, desperate, confused. Avery pivoted, swept his legs from under him, and placed him flat on his back. Before he even understood he was falling, Brenner hesitated now. The confidence in his eyes wavered. But pride is a powerful enemy. He swung wildly. Avery caught his wrist, twisted gently but decisively, and brought him to his knees. Not with brutality, with control, with precision, with the kind of practiced ease that only comes from years of disciplined training. The cafeteria didn't erupt in applause. It didn't even exhale. Everyone was paralyzed by the truth. She wasn't bluffing. She wasn't exaggerating. She wasn't someone to mock. She was exactly what she said she was, a Navy SEAL. And she had just dismantled 3 men without so much as shifting her heartbeat. The recruits struggled to stand, their pride more broken than their bodies. Calhoun's voice shook as he asked, "Why? Why are you here, on this base, in this program?" "You're already." "Because," Avery said, "being a SEAL doesn't exempt you from learning. And I don't lead from above. I lead from beside." Her words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. For a moment, no one spoke. Not the recruits. Not the instructors watching from the doorway now. Not the crowd gathering, drawn by curiosity and fear and awe. But the story didn't end there. Because humiliation fades, and resentment festers. Over the next week, the 3 recruits avoided Avery. Not out of respect but out of wounded pride. Whispered conversations followed her down hallways. Muted glares lingered in the corners of rooms. She wasn't afraid, but she wasn't careless either. Then came the day everything changed. A training exercise night, navigation, Rough terrain, unpredictable weather. Wind clawed at the trees. Loose gravel shifted under every step. The sky churned with angry clouds that refused to give light. Halfway through the course, a scream ripped through the darkness. Calhoun. He had slipped down an embankment 20 feet of jagged stone and crumbling dirt. His leg was twisted unnaturally. His voice trembled with pain. Brenner and Tate stood frozen at the top, unsure whether climbing down would help or worsen the situation. Avery didn't hesitate. She dropped to her stomach, slid down the embankment, and landed beside him with controlled precision. "Don't move," she said. "Tell me where it hurts." His eyes were wide, terrified, vulnerable. The same recruit who tried to intimidate her now clung to her voice like a lifeline. "My leg. I can't, Avery. I can't move it." "I know," she said gently. "I'm going to get you out." Above them, the instructors arrived. Flashlights sliced through the darkness. Orders flew, but none of them could climb down safely. The ground was too unstable. Only Avery was in the right place at the right moment. She checked his pulse, confirmed he was conscious, then anchored her rope. She signaled to the instructors, "On my count. Pull steady, not fast. If you jerk the line, the slope will collapse." Everyone held their breath. "1," she said. The rope went taut. 2. Dirt slipped beneath her boots. 3. A coordinated pull echoed across the ravine. Boots bracing, muscles straining, hands tightening around rope. Avery lifted Calhoun with careful precision, absorbing every tremor of pain he tried to hide. The crowd that gathered at the edge of the ravine watched with wide eyes, whispered prayers, trembling lips. Even Brenner and Tate stood shoulder to shoulder, gripping the rope like their lives depended on it. When they finally hauled Calhoun to the top, he didn't thank the instructors. He didn't thank his friends. He reached for Avery's hand. "You saved my life," he whispered. Avery shook her head. "I did my duty." But he held her gaze. "No," he said. "You saved my life after I tried to make yours miserable." The wind quieted. The forest stilled. A strange calm washed over them, like the night itself was apologizing. Brenner stepped forward, shame tightening his voice. "We were wrong about you," Tate added. "We didn't know who you were." Avery considered their words, watching the rise and fall of their breaths, the trembling exhaustion in their shoulders, the sincerity struggling to break through their pride. "It's never been about who I am," she said softly. "It's about who you choose to be next." That night changed everything. The whispers stopped. The glares faded. Respect replaced rivalry. And in the weeks that followed, something unexpected formed. Trust. The kind built through hardship, humility, and redemption. Because sometimes, the people who begin as your biggest obstacles become the ones who stand at your side when it matters most. And Avery, she didn't ask for praise. She didn't seek attention. She simply continued training, quiet, steady, unwavering. But no one forgot. Not the instructors, not the recruits, not the 3 men who once tried to intimidate her. Because they learned a truth that day one, written not in rank or title, but in character. Strength isn't loud. It's steady, it's humble, and it shows itself when no one else knows what to do. Because kindness doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back. And sometimes, it finds its way back in the same cafeteria where everything began. If you enjoyed this story, share your thoughts in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful narratives just like this one.